Hey, welcome to the social space. Show all about Wichita Falls, Texas, the whole wide world. We're at Crossland. To my left, giddy as you will ever see her. As we tape this on Tuesday, Jackie's about to leave to go to her second favorite place behind Texoma, New York City.
I am going up to New York City in the morning. There's something big happening. We're kind of excited.
Does New York know you're coming?
I'll let them know as soon as I land.
They'll know when she leaves.
The collective, whew, that was a lot. We've been shut down. To her right, Andrew Bell. Boy, I ran into your brother Brendan and your sister-in-law. They were doing something weird outside of the Holt Sunday. You might have to ask them.
Yeah.
I took the long way. I avoided them. I don't know what they were like, kind of taking pictures, but they were there for like 30 minutes. You'll have to find out.
Oh, okay. Weird.
How's it going?
Good. Everything's great. Yeah.
All right. And to my right, somebody who needs no introduction, I'm told.
No kidding.
𝘀𝘂𝗿𝗏, how you doing, sir?
Oh,
you shaking. We're shaking. We're excited.
I love COVID, man. I want to shake everybody's hand. Give me a hug. I just want to be there.
Joe, before we get started, I just have to thank our partners real quick. That's Channel 6. You can see us 10:35 Sunday nights at 10:35 or a little bit later if there's a sport. You know, we got lots of basketball and whatnot going on.
Yep.
And also you can listen to us along with Greg Hoegger on the tractor. You can't be on the tractor. You can listen with us.
You probably could.
NewsTalk 1290. Yes.
He would probably give you the tractor. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Townsquare Media. And then, of course, Sean and Tanya Cho over there at Falls Trucking and Impact Signs. I said that all wrong, but they know what I mean. Go over there and get your truck wrapped, get your truck parts.
Your boat wrapped.
Get your boat
Summertime.
Oh my goodness, they do it all over there.
Put a new sign up.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Okay, awesome. Well, there we go. That's out of the way.
Yeah. Well, Joe, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for asking me.
Hey, I want to know, is it Joe Golding or is it Trisha Golding's husband?
You don't have to answer that.
I'm just going to leave that one alone. I'll leave that one right there.
But Joe, for those that don't know you, tell us a little bit about your history, where you were born and raised, how you made it back to Wichita Falls. Go ahead.
I was born during two days. And my mother drove by the stadium. We used to practice in the old Coyote Canyon.
Yes.
And on the way to the hospital, she stopped, honked her horn, and said, "I'm going to the hospital." And all the coaches, everybody, some of the players I still play golf with, they were all kidding around. So my dad's response was, "I'll see you when I get off practice." so they, after practice, he finally made it down. So I I figured out where I was on the priority pole.
Well, that's before they let the
at a
husband
really
in the
early age.
Yeah.
You got to have your priorities straight.
Oh my gosh.
That's
I didn't
before they
realize.
let the husband in the room
That's
anyway,
true.
so
Yeah.
he wouldn't have been able to get in there anyway.
Now, Joe, I know at one time you and your Trisha and your kids lived in Midland. You made that trek back to be the girls' basketball coach. How many years did you?
Close, but not.
Okay.
But you're good.
Am I good?
You're good on your research.
Okay.
Trish and I got married, came back here, and went to work for 𝗶𝘁
Oh, yes.
for
I
Brotherton
forgot
White
about that.
Sporting Goods store.
Yes.
Did that for 3 years, and then Bobby sold it, and it kind of a conflict of interest because he owned a rep farm plus having the sporting goods store. And the only job they were going to have open at the time was in Louisiana.
Ah.
And Trish said she wasn't moving to Louisiana. And so anyway, make a long story short, Trisha's mother called, and she had a building in Midland, Texas,
Okay.
and said, "Look, I'm going to open a children's clothing store. Why don't you and Trish come and help me?" And her husband had passed away right before Trish and I gotten married 3 years earlier. So Trish and I go back, and had a great 14 years.
Wow.
I mean, raised my kids, was on the school board, involved in the church. Everything was great. And then in '84, the bust hit.
Yeah.
And the FDIC, the bank went under. And they walk in, and Mr. Goldie, you got 30 days. And I said, 30 days for what? And they said, your note's due.
Wow.
I said, no. I got an SBA note, 6-year note. We're 4.5 years into it. Never missed a payment. And they said, Mr. Goldie, in the state of Texas, every note's called on the band note.
Wow.
So 30 days, we had, that was it. So Tricia held 5 jobs down for the next year. Different thing, working from her mom to be a crossing guard. She ran the youth program.
Yeah.
At church. I mean, unbelievable lady for what she gave up. And then one man who I was generous beyond belief that I'll always appreciate gave me a job cleaning his office buildings at night. And on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we drove to Alpine and back.
Really?
I did, to go to school. Because they had all the new computer classes and everything from when I'd gone to school that I had to go take. And so it was a long year.
Yeah.
And but during this process, I had to resign from the school board. And anyway, I got my teacher certification, and I started teaching in Midland and coaching.
I did not know that you taught in Midland and coached.
For 2 years. And Trish and I were running a summer camp down on Lake LBJ. And unbeknownst to me, if you know Trish, you understand the story.
Yeah.
She called Bill Jetter and said, would you please get Joe a job? And I was happy. I was coaching junior high. I mean, you do everything in junior high.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I grew up under my dad, where that's where you need to learn to start.
Okay.
And so that's what I did. Anyway, so Jetter calls me out of the blue, which I later found out was because of Trish. And he said, heard you might want to come from Midland back to Wichita Falls. I said, oh, Coach, that's a dream come true. I said, I think I could finally do it now.
Okay.
He said, what do you mean now? I said, well, there's no way it's the only reason I didn't go into coaching right off as soon as Tricia and I got married is how do you follow what my dad's already done? I mean, it's, and especially back to Wichita Falls. I mean, how do you, it's always, well, you're Joe Golding's son. That's the only reason you got to do this or that. And, but Daddy had passed away by that time.
Okay.
So anyway, I drove up here, Ada McBride's right down the street with Nida McNeil, who was superintendent, and Coach Jetter. And after about, 30 minutes or so, we ate, visited, whatever. And Nida got up and she walks out. And I looked over at Coach Jetter and I said, what just happened? He said, oh, you just got hired. I went,
Oh my God.
okay. So I drive back home to camp and tell Trish, I said, well, we got hired. We didn't have cell phones back then. So I drove all the way back and said, okay, we're hired, we're moving. So anyway, that's how we got here. It's
And did you start as the Old High girls basketball coach? What did you do?
I coached linebackers
Okay.
in football, and I was assistant basketball coach.
Okay.
Men's. And we had a good run. And I really think the only reason I got the job was because my oldest son was pretty good in basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It was a package deal, huh?
yeah, it was a package deal.
Well, I think he's doing pretty good for himself
And he's done
today.
pretty good. He's done all right now.
Yes.
But anyway, and then we had Jeffrey and Kate that came along. So
Sure.
everybody's been a part of, for me, it's, like I said, the old pile of red bricks means a lot to me. And it's, this is 50 years after I went, when I was at school. You think back, and that thing's still standing. Hell, it's 50 years old back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we're 120 years old and it's still standing, and I don't know how they're ever going to blow it up. I don't know if they could.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot of memories and a lot of tradition.
Yeah.
You mentioned your father. I didn't grow up here, so I don't know a lot of the history. So there's a field named after him.
That's a whole nother story. Daddy, when he was always the athletic director and coach while he was the coach.
Really? Okay.
But when they opened Ryder, Daddy said it's not fair to be athletic director over two schools. And
Coach on one. Oh, yeah.
he said it's just not going to be a good deal. So he resigned. I say that my dad always wanted to win 4 state championships because nobody had ever done it at the highest level. And he always said, as soon as I win my 4th one, I'll retire. Well, 58, we won it. So he just needed one more. In 59, we made it all the way to the championship game. Didn't win. In 1960, made it all the way to the championship game. And it's a whole story about how we got messed around. They should have won it. Did win it, but they got messed out of it. So he had another good team coming back. And in 61, they won it. And he retired about 2 weeks later.
Wow. So
four.
four
Just to be the
state
AD
championships.
in a row.
Gosh.
That's wild.
So it was, and he won 1 in 49 and 51. So kind of had, spread out there, but they had a good run, and it was fun growing up. It was like old timers like Bum Phillips coached at Amarillo High. You've got Gene Stallings, Emory Ballard, all these guys that were famous college coaches. So it was a different breed back then because most school districts had one school.
Yeah.
Amarillo had a school. Lubbock had a school.
Yeah.
Wichita Falls had a school. And, growing up in Coyote Canyon, I never played it when we didn't have 12 to 14,000 people at a game. I mean, every game. Yeah. And back then, just to get in, you could buy a $1 ticket. And they called it Daddy's Alley. And all the dads didn't have season tickets. You just pay $1 and walk the sidelines. And it had an old track, around like most football fields do. And that's why the Memorial Stadium doesn't have one either. That first thing Daddy did was asphalt it. Said, this ain't a track, this is a football field. Well, became used, and all the dads would buy the $1 ticket, they just follow the ball. As the ball went down the field, you'd see all the dads going, literally, I could be standing as you were as a cornerback on defense, and your dad would be as close as me to you.
Oh, man.
And they're hanging over,
really bad or really good.
and they're hanging over the fence. And they're letting you know whether or not you're doing a good job or not. There's not a whole lot of space out there.
I don't think I like that. Joe, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. I'm not sure you told me why the field was named after you. But when we come back, I'm going to finish answer that question and more. We'll be back with Joe Gulling, everybody.
Yay!
4 incredible radio stations. That's who we are. We are Townsquare Media, and we bring the best of radio to the North Texas area. Wake up early with NewsTalk 1290. That's us. How about Kelly Raspberry on 92.9 NIN? Yep, that's us. Bringing you the best of country with 102.3 The Bull. That's us. And rocking it all day long with 106.3 The Buzz. That's us. We are Townsquare Media, and we're proud to be a sponsor of the social space.
Hey, welcome back to the Social Space. Still here with Jackie and Andrew, and still here with Coach Joe Golden.
Yeah.
Before we took a break, Coach, you were telling us all about the J.G. Field and why it was. I guess I know he was just the best coach there ever was. I haven't got the field there. Is that the?
No, but when you coach and you're involved, as my dad was, it kind of be like having Jackie say, "Okay, Andrew, I'm gonna let you run it. I'm just gonna sit over here on the side and watch."
Yeah,
it ain't gonna happen.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Joe, are you really serious about that?
Jackie Hoegger Field.
So,
Statue.
No,
Jackie's statue.
that would no.
but
Grit.
they wanted. He had to have something to drive him
Sure.
to keep him going. And a lot of people aren't aware, it was the very first high school stadium in the United States of America with AstroTurf
In Wichita Falls.
in Wichita Falls. The very first high
I did
school
not know that
stadium.
either.
And he went all over the country, and
Wow.
now they have Monsanto turf and all the different. Back then, it was called AstroTurf.
And it was terrible.
because it was in the Astrodome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Catch a
And
knee
it-
injury on that stuff.
Yeah, it had the little. Now they have the little rubber pellets and
Yeah.
everything that help cushion. No, no. Oh, cement. They put
carpet,
this fake grass. I mean, out of plastic. And it wasn't a good deal, but it was unique. And so he was able to pass the bond to get the stadium built,
Okay.
and that was his pride and joy. That was his
Gosh.
crowning glory.
Yep.
He wanted it, they all wanted to name it Joe Golding Stadium back then. And he said, nope, you don't name, he's old school, so you don't name things after people until when?
They die.
You're done. You're dead.
Yeah.
And he said, I ain't dead yet. So he made the motion that they name it Memorial Stadium, being a war veteran.
Yeah.
So that's where Memorial Stadium came from.
That's really a great story.
Yeah.
So later on, I was honored to be there, when we changed the name. And it's Joe Golding Field. It's still Memorial
of
Stadium.
Memorial Stadium.
And that was the compromise, that it stay Memorial Stadium.
Awesome.
That's interesting.
That is very interesting.
You know, Joe, over the years, I've had many coaches in my life that I think impacted my drive and just me as a person. After 31 years of coaching, how do you think you've impacted some of those players and students and?
Yeah. Oh man, depends on which ones you ask.
I know what thoughts just popped up because
Depends on which ones you ask. I wanted to come out when it's all over and said and done, that I'd made a difference in somebody's life. I play golf every week with about 15 guys, of which half of them played ball for my dad. And to a man, every single one of them, I hated your dad and I was scared of him.
Yeah.
But he made me who I was, what I became. The one thing kids don't have today is a lot of love. So how do you care about them? To me, first place, how you treat them. If you want to be some guy or lady that goes out and cusses and hollers and screams and it's not going to work. There's been a couple of times I've kicked a basketball up to the gym and to the ceiling, you know. I mean, there were, I've thrown a few Bobby Knight chairs. And,
Bobby Knight. I almost said that.
you know, I've had my moments, but I always, at halftime or after the game, apologize. Say, hey, y'all, I'm sorry, man. I lost my, you know, but you know when it's all over and said and done, whether those kids really loved you or not. Mm-hmm. The real way you know is when they come back to see you.
Yep.
Sure.
You know? And we had a little retirement deal up at the school, and I can't tell you, I mean, I bet you there was 50 to 75 players, and I can't tell you, I bet how many text messages and pictures and comments at those kids, and every single one of them had a memory.
That's cool.
Awesome.
I mean, almost without fail, every single one of them wrote down a memory.
Well, speaking of, Joe, you know, that basketball song that you always taught those kids during summer camp, I get on the floor of my living room with my granddaughters and I have taught them the Joe Golding basketball song. So there, you do make memories, you know?
Yeah.
So wait, is that the same or different from this motto I've heard about?
No, it's different from the
different.
motto, but he does have word on the street is Joe's got a motto.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's the motto?
Yeah. Huh?
What's the motto?
Yeah.
Make memories and have fun.
Okay.
My whole deal, I tell the kids every year, you know, when you get old like the old fat man is, you're not going to remember the score of the game. I mean, outside of Ryder in your last game, which you'll probably have nightmares about the rest of your life.
We've
Thank you,
talked
Joe.
about
Sorry. I was having a good day today.
Can you even name who all was in your district?
No, I can't.
So, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But there's memories that you're going to remember the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And to me, a lot of it is on the way to a game, coming home after a game.
I agree.
You know, I've got a picture on my wall, and I can't even tell you the score.
Yeah.
We beat Richland Hills, who was supposed to be the favorite. Like I said, I don't know, but I've got two of the other players and myself with Coach Mercer, and I got a picture that I'll have hanging for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, good memories.
You know, I think Wichita Falls is really lucky, Joe, that you came back here and high. And I hope your
I'm
retirement.
the lucky guy.
Yeah. And I hope your retirement is everything you want it to be. But I have to ask this before we have to leave this segment. What would today's Coach Joe Golding tell the Coach Joe Golding of 31 years ago?
Wow.
Open a Benjamin Builder account.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope he'd say, job well done.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, have you knocked off that to-do list for Tricia yet so you can start doing what you want to do?
What page? I'm on like page 3, and it's like a 403 volume set sitting over here. I'm sure she's going to have a lot for me to do.
She's the best, I tell
Yes,
you.
she
Yeah.
is the
We
best.
love Tricia. Well, and it's so nice for you to come out here, Joe. We sure do appreciate you.
Yeah.
We are
Thank
all
y'all.
out of time, but that was wonderful.
That was.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're gonna
Loved
have. Don't know what. Yeah, I just don't know what's coming up in these third segments later.
I don't know. I think it's okay for Joe just to own the show this time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we gotta
You know?
put something.
Yeah.
Channel 6 wants something there.
Yeah.
We'll put a 30-second spot in there for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here,
Yeah.
Joe. And
You bet.
And you have fun in New York City, Jackie.
will,
You'll be
and,
back on the next show. You'll
I'll
tell
be
us all
back
about
on the next show. And Joe, I mean, we just hope you stay in Wichita Falls forever and enjoy your retirement. Thanks for sharing the memories with us.
You're welcome.
That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you, Jeff.
See you guys next week.
This is a problem. That grind, that click, that constant leak. Whatever it is, you heard it last year, and you probably put it on your to-do list. Ah, the famous to-do list. Well, that list gets long, and so do the days. But your AC still needs a tune-up. You could wait for that first triple-digit degree day.
We're talking about consecutive days of triple-digit heat.
Or you could call
James Lane Air Conditioning and Plumbing. This is Laura.
Hey Laura, good to see you again. We don't like 102-degree weather, but we're climbing the ladder. We don't prefer hanging out in the crawl space, but we're down there chasing the lead. And we don't like when your AC has problems, but we like to fix them. James Lane Air Conditioning and Plumbing.